Welcome to this video. Today we're going to be doing a stock analysis on Zealand Pharma. Now the reason I'm making this today is because, I don't know if you've heard, but Zealand Pharma just had a huge deal with Roche, the Swiss-based medical company. Now first we're going to take a look at some technical analysis and then we're going to look at some fundamentals, okay? Alright. Now firstly, if we go over the stock of the past few months or so, it has been performing quite poorly. But so has the entire fatness sector. I'm going to call it fatness or obesity. Oh, okay, obesity is better. I'll call it obesity. As you can see here, it peaked up at about 960 and then it has tumbled quite far down. It was down at all the way in 487 or so before it jumped up on Wednesday all the way up to that would have been about 670. Top 728, it opened at plus 58%. Now, why is that? That is because the company Roche made a deal with Zealand Pharma, and the deal was worth $35 billion. Now, at this point, when they were at this stock price, the company Zealand Pharma was worth $35 billion. So that means a company is willing to make a deal with a company that is worth the entire company instead of buying it. That just shows how much value there is behind Zealand Pharma's product. Now, if you don't know, like Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, Zealand Pharma is making an obesity drug. But the difference here is Zealand Pharma is making what is called small molecules, which is a different delivery system in your body, as well as the drug itself. They are using amylin instead of GLP-1 and GLP-2, which has a much smaller side effect profile, which is why it is quite popular at the moment. So also if you take a look at the RSI over the past few years, you can see it's quite choppy. It's up and down, up and down. Now, if we take a look before the drop, you can see they performed incredibly well, increasing and increasing and increasing. And you're gonna notice all these red E's and you're gonna notice this minus. That's because they don't make any money whatsoever. But the product they're making is gonna be worth a lot of money. Now, if you take a look at the SMA lines here, you can see there is still quite a large gap here between the 50-day moving average, the green line, and the 200-day moving average, the yellow line. And before that happens, I wouldn't recommend buying in. And that is simply because before that happens, there is not anything that shows the upwards momentum is going to stay. So the golden cross that happens is often a sign that there is upwards momentum to stay. Of course, we can have some false signals like we did here at around 750 when we have a death cross just about, was that a month after? Not even a month, 12 days later. So yeah, of course, that's not the only thing, but it is quite a good signal. Now, as you can see here, the earnings, as you can see, sometimes they beat their earnings, sometimes they don't beat their earnings at all. And that's whatever. And of course, they don't pay the dividends at all because they don't make money yet. And here you can see their earnings. They are quite bad. They are burning cash a lot. And now, if you don't know this, companies that burn cash quite a lot, you might wonder why is it able to increase in stock value? That's because the underlying product that they're making is gonna be worth more than the company itself, which means, say that the drug they are making is gonna sell very much and it's gonna bring in a ton of money, then let's say it's gonna bring in 10 billion over the next 10 years. But if you only invested 8 billion into the company, well, then you have a plus of 2 billion. That is how. So the basic value behind the company is still there. Now the margins has been quite poor recently, minus 1,000%. So yeah, of course, don't even think about margins when they're burning cash researching. But I like this quite a lot also now because Roche has quite good manufacturing facilities and Zealand Pharma don't. They are purely a development company. They don't have the capacities to produce hardly anything. They produce very small amounts, but it's really not anything that is worth a ton of money. Now, if you take a look at the last few seasons, they have performing quite nice. Some years, as you can see, 24, 100%, 23, 80%, 22, 35%, as one of the few companies that actually made money in 22. Of course, then we have some years here where they don't really make any money at all and are minus. But given a company like this who don't make any money at all, it is quite impressive to see that their biggest fall down is 35%, because that can often be very much in both directions with minus 70% and plus 200%. So it's a very, very good signal that it doesn't fall more than that. And now, if we take a look at the technicals, they are quite poor. For the week, they are positive because of yesterday's fall, or not positive, they're neutral because of the oscillators. But the moving averages is still sell, and I personally weigh moving averages quite a lot more than the oscillators. And now for the month, it's a neutral. Also here on the moving averages, which is quite nice, as you can see, 616. So yeah, a bit interesting. But for the day, it is a strong sell simply because, as you can see up here, it's a minus 10%, so it's a huge drop off from the boom. But the entire obesity market has had it quite rough lately, so be wary about until until at least not this company, but more companies in the same sector is showing to be improving. You can also see Novo Nordisk, the big Danish company, which, as you can see here, they took a huge tumble the other day. Huge tumble the other day. So yeah, and that was also because Zealand Pharma made it. Don't take out these lines, it is from an earlier analysis. Now, it's a strong buy from a lot of analysts, and that is because the product behind Zealand Pharma, the Amulin, is quite impressive, and especially now they have just made the deal. I think it's gonna be a strong buy for even more. And as you can see now, the average is 923. I think that might be up to 1300 or so. I think it's gonna within 1 year. I think it's gonna end up about 1,000. To be honest, a very interesting company. I personally do not own any stock in Zealand Pharma, and that is because my personal favorite is Novo Nordisk. It is one of my biggest positions, as has been for the past years, so which has gone very nice for me, of course, except for the past year, down a bit. But overall, I still believe in Novo Nordisk. So yeah, that was my analysis on Zealand Pharma. Now, if you did like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe.